Hello again, you sick, twisted weather freaks, and welcome to another fun-filled, action-packed, and intellectually stimulating edition of This Week in Weather. I'm your host and meteorologist, DT, from Weather Risk, your commander of chaos, your colonel of confusion, your captain of catastrophe. Let's talk about This Week in Weather. Before we start, I did want to wish a happy birthday to one of my favorite American generals, Ulysses S. Grant, who birthday is April 27th, so I'm a big Ulysses S. Grant fan. I always have been. I think he was the country's best general of all time. So, just kind of a personal note there. All right, let's get started. A lot to talk about here. We're going to be talking about the Omega Block pattern, two big rainstorms here for the East Coast this weekend, and then also a cold start to the first half of May. So, let's get right to it. Now, this first image here shows you the monthly sea surface temperature forecast. This is now from the Australians. As you can see here, the date is April 22nd, so this is a new projection here. The red line is 2 degrees centigrade above normal. Notice it gets to that around mid-July, looks like. And then, of course, it gets to 2.8 degrees centigrade, which is be super El Nino, super or strong El Nino. And it gets to that by September and October as we head towards the autumn. And, so if this is right, during the hurricane season, it's going to be quite a feature here. It looks like it would last into the heart of the winter as a super El Nino or a strong El Nino. The term is interchangeable. It's not super strong. It's either a strong El Nino or a super El Nino. So I just want to keep that clear. Okay, let's take a look at some recent conditions here. So this here is the blocking pattern. This is April 23rd. There's the Omega Block, and you can see why it's called an Omega Block. We have a big upper low here in the Great Lakes, another one in the Northwest Atlantic Ocean. So you have this shape like the letter Omega. And these things are very stable. They can last for a long period of time. Now, this was the massive trough which brought the cold temperatures into the Midwest at the beginning of the week. And then, of course, we had the frost in the Shenandoah Valley and portions of West Virginia, Western Maryland over the past few mornings here. So this trough is now more on the East Coast. So you can see that over the past 7 days, temperatures were quite cold west of the mountains. If you were to look at this over the past 3 or 4 days, you would see the cold anomalies more like in the Mid-Atlantic and New England. So in any event, here's rainfall the past 7 days. You can see we've had some decent rains in the drought areas of Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, southern New Jersey. So that's really, really good news. And these rainfall amounts anywhere from ½ inch up to 1.5 inches. So it's not great rain, but it's going to help some. And then there's a lot more rain down the way. You can see heavier rains up in New England and New York State, and also some moderate rains last week, portions of the heavy rains in Arkansas, western Tennessee, southern Illinois, and also Ohio and Kentucky as well. All right, so what's going to happen here, these are current conditions. This is the midday Wednesday surface map. You can see the cold high here. Now coming down, bringing another shot of seasonally cool temperatures for May. This was the first front which came through a couple of days ago, and the low there was organizing over Texas, and we had some moderate rain here over the last midday today on Wednesday. This is the midday radar here. Just to give you an idea of how this is developing. One thing I do want to point out is the MJO here. These are the most recent MJO forecasts. So as of April 26th, we can see here that right here, look in the red areas here. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit so you can see it a little more detail. Yeah, that's better. We can see it there. Okay, so here we have the European on the left, the Australian model, and the GFS. And notice what they all do. So the red line is the next 5 days, okay? And then the blue line is the 6 to 10 day, and the purple line is 11 to 15 day. So they all move it. It's now currently in phase 8 or phase 1, and then it's going to move into the neutral circle. Okay, this weekend, next 5 days. Then it comes out in the 6 to 10 day. You can see it goes into the purple line. The blue line will phase 5 or 6, but mostly in the 11 to 15 day, you can see it's going to phase 6 and a little bit into phase 7. So what that means, if you take a look at it, obviously if it goes into the neutral circle here during the last few days of April and the first couple of days of May, it's not going to have any impact on the pattern at all. No matter where you are in North America or in the US, it's just not going to have an impact. But later on in May, we're going to phase 5 and phase 6 and then phase 7. In the first 10 or 15 days, you end up getting this. This is the phase 6 in May. And the precipitation shows a lot of precipitation in the plains and the upper Mississippi Valley, that sort of thing. But the Ohio Valley East Coast is pretty dry, and the Southeast is very dry. The temperatures turn quite warm. Now this is kind of unusual to see because as you'll see in the models here, the jet stream pattern is not warm at all. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. So we'll see. Maybe the MJO will change. The models right now are not showing this kind of warmth in the 11 to 15 day at all, or in the 6 to 10 day. They just aren't. You'll see that in a minute. All right, so here's the jet stream map here for Thursday night into Friday morning. You can see the Omega block. We actually have two of them, believe it or not. We actually have two of these features. There's one here over the west coast, again with the Omega shape there, and then the big one, the Omega block in Greenland and Northeast Canada. And that allows a trough here, a pretty significant trough in the Midwest and the Plain States. So there's the first low, which is going to be the Thursday night low, right here where the L is. And then you have another L, another piece of energy coming down from the Rockies. That's going to be the Sunday night, Monday, or Sunday rainstorm into Sunday night. So those are the two different features to look at here. So, okay, here's the next surface map for the next 5 days or so. We can see there's the there's the big low here over the deep south states. You can see this very nicely. This is coming out of Texas and Oklahoma today. It moves across the deep south here on Thursday afternoon, Thursday night. A lot of rain in the southern states into Tennessee, into southern Missouri, Kentucky. And then here on the right hand side, we can blow this up a little bit. This is now Thursday afternoon, well, no, actually Friday night, I should say. And you can see heavy rain, strong south winds on the coast. The primary lows in Ohio, the secondary lows on the North Carolina coast. So this is a very wet system here. Let me show you what I mean. Now this is the time frame here. So this is Thursday, late Thursday night. Okay, there's the low. A lot of rain here. The rain is in southwest Virginia, western North Carolina. It's in Tennessee, it's Kentucky, the deep south state. But it's not in central and eastern Virginia. It's not in central and eastern North Carolina. It's not in the Delmarva, Pennsylvania, New York. It's in southwest Ohio. Thursday night, okay, 10, 11 p.m. at night. Got it? That's where it is. Now, here is Friday morning. Now the rain is in central Virginia. Reach I-95 here, and then eastern North Carolina. Heavy, heavy rain in Georgia, the western Carolinas, the Shenandoah Valley, southwest Virginia, west Virginia, Ohio, eastern Kentucky, southwest Pennsylvania. This is 8 a.m. Friday morning. Okay? Notice here it's still dry in New England, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey. Washington, D.C. is just getting the rain. Baltimore is still dry. The Delmarva is still dry. And Hampton Roads is still dry. 8 a.m. on Friday. All right? Now this is, let me see, I may have skipped a slide here. Okay, so this is 1 o'clock on Friday, yes. Okay, so here's 1 p.m. You can see. Now the heavy rain has now reached eastern North Carolina, eastern Virginia. All right? And it's still raining like hell all the way back into southwest Virginia, western North Carolina. Western half of Pennsylvania is getting pounded. Western half of most of Maryland, for that matter, except for the Delmarva. The rain is just reaching the Delmarva Friday at 2 p.m. See that? Still dry in New York, still dry in Philly, Binghamton, Buffalo's getting the rain now, but New England is still dry. Albany is still dry. Heavy, heavy rain in all this area. Again, what's happening is there's your primary low, your secondary low is down here. You're getting strong southeast winds feeding the moisture into the mid-Atlantic region, into the mountains, which reduces the heavy rain. Now this is Friday at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Okay, 0Z Saturday, Friday 8 p.m. Look at the torrential rains here in central and eastern Virginia and North Carolina, the Delmarva. It is going to come down, folks. It is going to come down hard and heavy. Even to the north, you still have moderate rain in all Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, and the western New York State, eastern Great Lakes, the primary lows hitting Ohio as well, western portions of West Virginia. So you have one low here, the other one here, and it's really coming down here in Virginia and the lower mid-Atlantic states. So be prepared for that. Friday evening, heavy, heavy rain. Change your plans accordingly. Not good for driving, not good for being out unless you absolutely have to. Now this is Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Saturday 8 a.m. See that? Okay. Now it's cleared out in Virginia. The heavy rain is pushed up into, it's weakened somewhat, but you still have moderate to heavy rain, much of central and western New York State, all of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York City. Still raining in D.C. and Baltimore and the Delmarva, but it's dry in Charlottesville, Roanoke, Richmond, Fredericksburg, Hampton Roads, and most of North Carolina. So during the day on Saturday, it should be fairly dry. All right, especially in the afternoon hours. There still may be some lingering rain Saturday morning, but most of the day Saturday should be okay. So want to get that across to you. Even though it's going to rain very hard Friday and Friday night, Saturday in those areas should be okay. Now again, up in Pennsylvania, Saturday in New York State and southern New England, New Jersey, it's going to rain all day in the Delmarva, but not in Virginia, not in North Carolina, not in West Virginia, not in Tennessee, not in Kentucky. All right. So now that takes us to Saturday. Now here we have this is the GFS, and this was the 18C GFS, and the same sort of thing. There's the next system. This is Sunday's system, right? Sunday night, and there's the first one. Notice that it is ended here in Virginia and DC. This is Saturday 2 p.m. Okay, so now the rain is shifted up into New York City, New Jersey, Philadelphia, the Poconos, eastern New York. New England still not getting that much rain yet. And there's a break here. See all this? There's a big break here. Nothing going on Saturday afternoon. So now the ground's going to be really soggy. All right, a lot of rain coming. The ground's going to be soggy. So keep that in mind, but it should be okay dry. In terms of rainfall, okay, this is the GFS model from here at midday on Wednesday. This takes us out to Monday total rainfall by Monday. You can see this is both systems together. This is both systems. So you have one big area here, the other one here. A kind of a gap right here in North Carolina a little bit, but these are widespread 1 to 3 inch rain. Some areas over 4 inches. Okay, very significant rainfall here on the GFS. Here's the European, same sort of thing. The next 5 days takes us to Monday morning. Now the European has more uniform rain shield here, but you can see really almost 4 inch rains in portions of Virginia, eastern Virginia, central North Carolina, Georgia, okay, and then 1 to 3 inch rains most of Pennsylvania, New York State, southern New England, but really heavy southern New Jersey, Delmarva, central and eastern Virginia, into central North Carolina, down towards Georgia. Some areas there are 4 inch rains, no doubt about it. Okay, now let's talk about the second event, which is Sunday, April 30th to Monday, May 1. All right, now here we can see what's going on here. Now this is Sunday, Monday. So now what's happened is, let me blow this up a little bit so you can see it. If I can bring this forward here. So let's blow this up a little bit. So what's happened is now the blocking pattern, the blocking pattern has weakened. The omega block has gone a little bit, right? But you can still kind of see it. There's up below here. Still kind of there, but it's weakening. Now we're also now getting this ridge here on the west coast of the Rockies and a trough here. So of course this is also another omega ridge. But it's a very convoluted pattern. The point is, look at this huge upper low now in the Great Lakes. And this next piece of energy, which comes down from the Montana and Wyoming into Texas and Louisiana. So these two features are going to phase and produce a big coastal storm, another rainstorm on Sunday. So that's what's going to happen here. And you can see it a little bit on the European. This is the a midday Wednesday European. So the Canadian high, this high is connected to this ridge. This ridge is pulling down the cold air. Look at the lines coming out of northwest Canada. A lot of cold air here for May. This is not January cold. This is, late April, early May cold. There's the low pressure in the Great Lakes. This is the first low from Friday night. And there's the second low right here. And then you can see the heavy rain building in the southeastern states very nicely. By Sunday at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., it's already beginning to rain again in Richmond. So here comes the rain really fast. Now, what happens is this low wraps up and intensifies. You can see it becomes a monster storm here by Monday night in the Great Lakes. You have a lot of heavy rain in eastern Canada, rain and snow in the Great Lakes, rain showers in the Ohio Valley. Okay, so this is really wrapped up here. And you can see there's the block. The mega block is almost gone, but you can see the upper low and the trough right here over the eastern third of the country. And there's your California trough. So very ridge, trough, ridge, trough, ridge, trough. Very amplified wavy pattern here. And this is going to pull down a lot of cold air. This big low here, look at the isobars here and the Canadian high. This is going to pull down a lot of cold air for May. Now if we break it down, you can see this is the GFS here for Sunday morning. Now notice it already has the rain returning Sunday morning in Virginia, a little bit of Maryland, North Carolina, and there's the second rain over here. This is the first system right here, and here's the second system developing very nicely. This is the European. And again, there's the southern low. This is the old first one from Friday, right up in here. And now you can see the rains returning. This is Sunday, 2 p.m. So the light to moderate rains are already back in Jersey, Delmarva, Virginia, eastern Maryland, all of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. So the rains come back really quickly Sunday morning in the mid-Atlantic, and Saturday night down in the deep south, southeastern states. This is Monday 2 a.m. or Sunday night, Monday morning. Look at this huge low here. Look how intense this sucker is. Very powerful, 980 millibars. Okay, heavy rain in Virginia, lifting north at this point, but really coming down Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, Saturday into Sunday morning here. Excuse me, Sunday morning into Sunday evening into Monday morning. This is again Monday 2 a.m. So here's the heavy rain. The Northeast getting pounded everywhere from the Virginia North Carolina border all the way to Buffalo, all the way to Toronto, Montreal, New York State, New England. So this is where it starts. Okay, we can see the rain coming in Sunday morning here, and then the big system comes in Sunday afternoon and evening. Really comes down here. This is the GFS, same sort of thing. Okay, this is Sunday night at 10 p.m. You can see the second system doing very nice. Now the GFS has a little bit of a slide break in the precipitation here. I think this is complete bullshit. I don't think that's correct at all. So I'm going with the European here. It's much more consistent. If you look at the rainfall, sure enough. Okay, so here's the European, and you can see the uniform rain shield very nicely. This takes us to, again, this is Monday. You can see the total rainfall here. So there's your first system, your second system. And there are some gaps here in North Carolina, Eastern Virginia. But for the most part, it's pretty good rain. Okay. Sorry, this was the GFS, the same sort of thing, out through Monday. You can see nice rain here as well. Again, this is the 48-hour rainfall. So this is from Saturday to Monday. Saturday to Monday. There is a gap here, the rain shield in North Carolina and Southeast Virginia. It shows up on both of these models. I don't know if this is right or not. I don't know. They'll have to wait and see if the other models have that gap in the rain shield. I suspect there's something to this since both models are showing it. All right, then beyond that in the 6 to 10 day, okay, so the omega block is now gone. We have still blocking, but it's not omega. It's not omega. So we now have this monster trough running from eastern Canada all the way down to Georgia, and this big upper low here in California. Meanwhile, you have a nice ridge here. See this? That's pulling down the cold air. Look at the lines bringing the cold air southward. See how it's coming southward? Right along there. So, and that produces a pretty active pattern. Now, as we go into later on the 6 to 10 day, this is early May, May 5. And you can see here's the GFS. Now, that upper low, what happens is ejects a wave of low pressure eastward across the Rockies. The GFS has it, the European has it. Now, this has the potential to bring significant rain right across the Midwest into the Mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley. And see how it has to go underneath the trough. See the blocking here, right? Both models have the blocking, right? There's the upper low. So any energy has to go underneath it. See, that has to go underneath it. See? But again, let me show you. And this is what the surface maps look like earlier on Wednesday. Here's the front. Okay, cold air to the north, warm to the south, a lot of rain from Nebraska all the way to Ohio and Illinois and to North Virginia and Pennsylvania and West Virginia. But not all the models have this. Let me show you. The ensemble does not. The ensemble has this very strong ridge here, and it does not penetrate. So even though the upper air maps, the operational models are showing this, see the upper low coming in? The ensembles don't show that. They keep the trough here, and then on the East Coast, nice ridge here in the Rockies and Canadian prairies, bringing down the cold air. See the lines coming down, there's the block, really feeding the cold air into the eastern half of the country. But it's dry. So a lot of uncertainty as to which scenario is going to be correct here. Now the temperatures in the 6 to 10 day say cold. Look at that. Everybody east of the Mississippi River, 6, 8, 10, 12 degrees below normal for the first 5 days, May 2nd to May 7th. That's cold. Now beyond that, the pattern shows some relaxing. The omega ridge is gone. All right. We have this big trough here, still lingering here in southeast Canada on the east coast, and another one on the west coast. You can see the low trying to come eastward. But look at this big ridge here over the Rockies and the western Canada. So that's going to force this ridge, this low, to track underneath it. And this could be a big rain producer later on May 13th or 14th if it goes underneath the ridge here. So there is some of that. Now initially, this ridge is bringing down cold air into the northeast, but not so much for the plains of the Midwest anymore. And you can see that the cold air is weakening. Notice the Midwest is not nearly as cold in Iowa, Missouri, but still Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, several degrees below normal. So there we go. So that's what it looks like. And this will take us into May 11th. So we have a pretty good rain event coming up here in summary. This is the second one here, very nice rain event, and then the first one on Thursday. Well, really Friday night. That's going to be a real bear. Both of them are. So the drought is going to come to an end in the Mid-Atlantic region. There's no doubt about that. And then we stay chilly, and I don't think we'll. And then I think we'll be kind of dry from, let's say, May 1st, May 2nd, all the way through May 7th or May 10th. There might be some rain events, but I think it'll be pretty dry the first half of May because we're going to be having northwest flow and temperatures running below normal. This is meteorologist DT from Weather Risk. I'll see you over on the Twitter page, over on the website, and over on the Facebook page.